very much, Pia, for the introduction, and good afternoon to everyone. My name is Mika Vainio-Mattila, as Pia pointed out. My badge actually says Mika Mainio-Mattila, which I think is quite fun, so I think I'm going to keep this one. I'm a co-founder in a company called Digital Workforce, which is a new company, less than 2 years old, focusing only on the idea of knowledge work automation through robotics. Not physical robotics, but digital robotics. And we like to call it digital workers. These digital workers are very rapidly transforming the very nature of work in organizations across the board. In knowledge-based organizations, I would say, and I guess today all organizations are more or less knowledge-based, right? So I'm going to kick off with a very brief video. No video? Let's go back. Can you help? Okay. I think we'll skip the video. I'll just share the main points verbally. Can I get the slide back, though? Okay. So what are these digital workers? They are not physical robots. They are software which can be trained to perform tasks that are typically done by human beings. They are basically mimicking or emulating the way people use computer systems. Basically, they can do almost anything as long as a couple of conditions are fulfilled. First of all of the information needs to be in digital format. So no paper, no telephone, no fax. Everything needs to be digital. And also there needs to be clear rules underlying or governing the tasks. So these are rule-based robots. They are trained. They don't invent how they work. They only work according to set rules and procedures. You can complement digital workers with things like cognitive automation and machine learning, but basically these things are rule-based. That's an important consideration. The main point being that by training robots to perform the simple tasks performed still by humans in many organizations, you can release time for humans to focus on more strategic tasks and tasks requiring human interaction, for example, working with customers, working with patients, and so on. And the benefits are, of course, obvious. These things are very effective. They work around the clock, 24/7 if needed. They're much faster than humans. They don't forget things. They are very accurate, and they are much cheaper than human beings. On the other hand, maybe lucky for us humans, they are not able to perform all tasks. They're only able to perform rather simple tasks. Here are some examples of tasks so that you get an idea of what has been done in the past couple of years in this area. We have trained digital workers to perform tasks in banking, in insurance, healthcare, and also many other industries, but focusing on these very knowledge-based industries. They have proven themselves in very complex tasks as well, and I think just a list of things that have been done kind of proves the point. And this digital worker is now becoming mature, moving on from, let's say, piloting, testing, and first small-scale production deployments and implementations to very large-scale implementations. So the most advanced companies are already deploying hundreds of robots to perform back-office tasks in banking and, let's say, for example, handling patient data in healthcare environments. I think what we're witnessing is a revolution, which is something like what we have seen in industrial assembly and manufacturing in the past decades. So robots in those environments have become companions of people in these organizations. Robots are performing tasks that require maybe heavy lifting and extreme accuracy, around-the-clock operation. Now, the same thing is happening in knowledge-based organizations. And I think that maybe 10 or 15 years from now, when we look back to 2017, we will find it a bit amusing that people were actually doing the kinds of work that people in many organizations are still doing today. As I mentioned, the first sort of industrial scale deployments of robotics is taking place. And this is creating a new market, a new category as we speak. So there are companies, lots of companies offering services in this area, new solutions being developed for things like, just to give you an idea, managing the digital workers. How do you supervise and manage these knowledge work robots? Things like component robot skill libraries. Robots are made of components, and I think maybe even soon we will see things like web shops for robotic components to build your robots. And very importantly, robotics is not only taking work away from people, it's creating new job opportunities. So one of the most interesting and most sought after skill right now, and increasingly sought after skill is the trainer for a robot. So we need people who develop robotics and train robotics in these organizations. And there are learning services available to become a robot developer. So let's switch gears to a different angle on robotics. I think that if we only regard the digital worker as kind of a replacement of a human in simple tasks, and consider this aspect of automating existing work by the robotics, we are missing a very key point. And the point is that the virtual workforce can help us dramatically shorten the lead time and decrease the budget when it comes to connecting new services in the field of IoT, analytics, or new digital services with the business processes and the legacy backbone of your organization. So robotics can perform a very key role here. From an IoT perspective, looking at it from the robot's perspective, IoT is basically a massive collection of sensors creating a massive amount of data that has to go through some form of analytics before it becomes structured enough for a robot to take action. So if we consider, as an industry example, elevators, I think whenever we talk about IoT, there's always an example about elevators. Basically, the scenario could be something like this. There's an engine or an elevator engine that has a component that is starting to vibrate in a way that is not supposed to vibrate. I don't know anything about elevators, so this may not make any sense, but I'm kind of just sharing this as an example, as a fictitious example. There is analytics involved to understand from a sequence of measurement data what is going on and what may be the cause for the problems. And after that analysis, the robot can step into the picture and take control of the process and, for example, start to prepare a service call. The benefit of the robot, of course, is that it can navigate in all the information systems, internal systems, external systems. It can go look at schedules, it can go look at inventory systems, it can actually dispatch a service rep, it can look at weather forecast, whatever might be relevant for the case. And it can follow through the whole process. It can keep all the stakeholders informed, send emails, maybe do a follow-up call, and so on. And you can implement all of this kind of scenario with a fraction of the budget and time required if you were to implement this using, let's say, traditional systems integration techniques. And this is why I think robotics is extremely relevant from this perspective also for IoT implementations. Healthcare, many say, hasn't moved as fast as we might have thought some years ago, but the scenario is actually, could be very similar. In the elevator example, we're talking about predictive maintenance. In healthcare, it's preventive healthcare, and essentially you're dealing with the same phenomenon. I think there's a possibility that we'll all be equipped with the various sensors in the future. Certainly patients in hospitals, possibly elderly people who need special care may have sensors that enable more reactive, more speedy care when it's needed. And in the world of legacy systems and new applications in IoT and analytics, robotics can really be a powerful tool to help implement these processes end-to-end in a seamless way. So in summary, the future work is going to look very different from today's work. Robots will be performing many of the tasks that are performed by people today, and this is a positive thing, not a negative thing. This is very important. Humans will be able to focus on much more meaningful tasks than in many organizations and many processes today. This requires a strategy for organizations. The accelerating pace of digitalization, new services, and the demand for better services and faster time to market requires new ways to bring these services to the market. And this, I believe, calls for, first of all, understanding that robotics must be a very key component in your digitalization platform, and you need a strategy for this. Third point, robotics has been the subject of a lot of proof of concept piloting type of activities. It is now maturing to the level of industrial scale. And that calls for new services and tools to manage the transformation. And interestingly, outsourcing versus robotics, I didn't talk about outsourcing, but when we recognize that robotics in this digital worker sense are becoming such a powerful new resource, it becomes an alternative to outsourcing. In many cases, it probably still makes sense to shift work from location to location A to location B due to lower labor costs or other reasons. But robotics is becoming a very viable alternative when considering those decisions. If the next video, this is not actually a video, this is just a little demo to end my presentation off. Here we have a robot which is going through its work instructions and performing activities on the background. You see the client's documents and systems being managed. This is a digital worker. It doesn't look more fascinating than this, but that's what it looks like. Thank you very much. I don't know if there's time for questions. If you have questions, please shoot.
Okay. Thank you, Mika.
Thank you.
Well, robotics and robots are for sure a part of our future. But what would you say to those who see these digital workers as a threat to the traditional workers? How do you see that?
There is fear and uncertainty involved, and I think it's important to recognize that people are losing some of the work that they are doing today. But I think it's like I said, I think it's more of a positive thing. In certainly the project that we've done, we haven't met people who would very much miss the work that was shifted to the robot. The people get more meaningful tasks, and it's a very positive development.
So you see more benefits than disadvantages. Okay, and I think you definitely have to hold on to your badge, because to the international guests, Mika Mainio, his Vainio means great or whatever, good, and they misspelled his name, but I think that's just a positive mistake. So hold on to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.